Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm going to start off with discussing stress and stressors. So, I think everyone knows what stress is. I think that stress is when you're overloaded and are either starting to break down, are in the process of breaking down, or you've already broken down and are just kind of going through the motions until you get a chance to recharge your batteries. You're already kind of burnt out. Uh, The text describes it on page 348 as a cognitive, affective, or physical strain or tension that produces mental tension or physiological reactions that disturb the body's normal state of functioning. I would say that our definitions are pretty similar. Specific events that cause stress can be work, school, relationships, um, or something else. Like it can be specific person to person. What stresses you might not stress me or someone else or someone else. The book uses the examples of things like deadlines, job travel, technology, and it can even be people like your coworkers, followers, and leaders, managers, bosses. There's a lot of different things that can stress you out. And I found that the example of technology was an interesting one to use because, like I had just said, I don't consider it to be stressful, uh, but I can see how others might. If you're, kind of technology illiterate, then using them can actually be a daunting task, and every time you have to use it can be stressful. So during a time like COVID, for instance, where you might be forced to switch from, working on job sites to having to work from home and use a computer full time, that could cause a lot of mental stress and mental strain uh, on yourself just because when you're at work, you're kind of in a familiar area, you have people near you that you can ask things or kind of help you out. It's kind of a comfortable setting, but then having that completely switched out and thrown on its head, you're now at home, you're by yourself, it changes. For question three, for conflict regarding conflict resolution, I think that the book has a great example on page 365, which is the conflict mode model. It defines the different styles of conflict management, which can be avoidance, competition, compromise, accommodation, and collaboration. I think that people embody a specific style of how they manage conflict. Um, and by that I mean like some people are avoiders and they don't want to deal with it. They just hope that if they ignore it long enough, it'll go away. And then there's other people who, kind of on the other side of the spectrum, who can be more confrontational and they want to deal with it, but sometimes they come across, and in that instance, they can come across in an aggressive way that makes it seem hostile to be in a situation like that, and people don't like that and they don't want to be in that. Um, but those kind of confrontational, aggressive people might find that if they go against someone who is kind of an avoider, that it kind of seems like they're pushing them around a little bit to get what they want. Um, I think that, like the book said, the resolution to conflict, a good one is collaboration, or an ideal one, where both parties can try to get their needs satisfied. If you define your needs, share them with one another, generate what possible solutions you can get, that you can both win out of it if that's possible, and then choose the best one and go with it, and then follow up in a few weeks and just review it, make sure that everything's going according to plan or how it was supposed to go. For question four, when it comes to negotiation, I want to say that I think I'm good at negotiation, but I'm by no means a pro. On page 370, there's a little figure that shows distributive and integrative negotiation strategies. Uh, Based off of the negotiation style, you might have individual or joint gains. You might have fixed or varying issues. You might have, one side's going to be information seeking, one side's going to be information sharing. So, from what I know about negotiation, is that it seems like it can be a battle of wits. You might think of a scenario like, or I think of a scenario like buying a car. Take that for example. Um, you you might have an interaction with a car salesman, we'll say, and if you go into it thinking that a car salesman is going to be shady, kind of along the lines of what the book might consider an adversary, that's where there's a low level of trust and agreement between one another, or maybe a bedfellow, depending on, again, your perspective and previous interactions of dealing with them when buying a car. But you might know someone, or you might have someone that you trust as a car salesman who you've gone to for years, and you might see them as more of an ally because you've built up that trust. You have high agreement, knowing that he'll help you find a great car with everything you're looking for and for the best price. And that's why you keep going back and guaranteeing him, that he's getting a good sale for years to come, because he treated you right, he did the right thing, and you guys are kind of allies in this. At least have that illusion or that belief that every time you go to him, as long as things don't change, he's going to get you a good price, you're going to get a good quality car, things are going to be good. And I think knowing now, more than I used to, I'll look at negotiations kind of in a new way by, listening to my fellow negotiator and working with them to find the best solution possible. And it might be, like I said, that battle of wits where I might, start categorizing which type of negotiation player that they are. And then, if need be, getting a third party to intervene if we can't find a good solution. That would be like getting a mediator, or just because that third party solution, whoever it is, can sometimes help. If you can't get between you and the other person, if you can't get a good solution or resolution to whatever the problem is, sometimes having a third party come in just to sit there, make sure, or bring up new ideas that you might not have thought of to get that solution, and then say, all right, that's it, that's what we're going to go with, whether it's a win-win or lose-lose or however it's going to go for both of you, that's going to be the decision, and that's what you're going to stick with. And sometimes, depending on, again, what the issue is and what's happening, that can be the best solution, because that's what you need, is someone else to tell you how it's going to be so that you'll follow through with it. So that's what I got. Thank you.